Hi, I am DM Zone. This is Gamers Oasis. Let's get into it. Okay, guys, in this video, we're going to talk about the original Dungeon Dragon spell called Snake Charm. It's one of the few spells that has so many real world applications that probably should be excluded from most games because it could be offensive one way or the other to those who play or observe the game. In this video, though, I'm going to talk about how it relates to the spell that came out in Supplement 1 and maybe how I would use it, and also why I would remove it from the player spell list. And in addition, I'm also going to expand a little bit on the spell and talk about what else I would do with it. The reason why I said what I said is there are literal snake charmers. They're called Sapura, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and they use something called a punji. And I might be butchering that completely. If I did, I completely apologize. The thing I'm trying to say is that when researching the spell just a little bit, I found all sorts of things like modern day snake handlers and this type of things that really aren't related to probably the essence of what the spell is or was. And this is a completely separate thing. This is a mechanic to be able to sway battles, essentially, not just a religious statement of those who practice. I hope that makes sense. So the way to describe the spell is it's a variable strength and duration spell. The strength of the spell, how many hit points it can actually affect, is actually a pseudo-unique mechanic for this spell. It's not really used anywhere else in the rules, but what they took a long ways to say to really get there is for every hit dice of cleric level you have, roll a d6, and that's how many hit points of snakes you can actually charm. If your hit points are high enough at 6th level, it indicates that you'll be able to charm a large snake. Now you can choose large snakes or normal sized snakes, but you can't charm both according to the spell. It also indicates that at 12th level the cleric is twice as effective. I would say that pretty clearly says you can have 2 large snakes. Still not able to have both large and normal sized snakes in the same spell, but nothing says you can't cast the spell twice. Now, the duration of this spell, I believe, is based upon the size of the snakes. Normal sized snakes are a d6 plus 6 turns, so a very long time, and a large snake is a d4 plus 1 turn, so a moderate to a decent amount of time for sure. It's also worth stating that this spell affects snakes up to 60 feet away or 6 inches on the sand table. So the reason why I would remove this spell literally from any PC's list and not ever allow them to get it as at least a regular cleric, maybe an anti-cleric, is because their belief system doesn't involve snakes in general. And that's about as close to the real world thing I want to get to it. I also think that in 95% of the time, it's not it's not going to be useful for any PC to actually have. So it just clutters the list with literally a spell that won't be used most of the time. And the 5% of the time when it would be used, it'd be used as a equalizer for whatever the referee is going to do, which I don't know if that's a thing the players or the referee really want. They don't want to have the tension removed from the snake cult that they're getting ready to go up against. The cleric will just take snake charm and neutralize most of the threat. And you don't want the referee to go ahead and be like, well, they're going to use snake charm, so I'm going to predict that's this many hit dice of snakes. So I'm going to increase my encounter by this amount of hit dice of snakes. Just for the cleric to be like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then you run into that many more snakes. I think you can understand how and why that removes tension and puts the tension on the wrong part of the fight. Now, I would also add and extend what this spell can do. I would say that this works with any cult that's out there worshiping spiders or ants, maybe a wasp cult. I could see any of these insect type cults or whatever. There's a lot of ways this spell could go that I think could be interesting, and it would add a whole new level of Cthulhu-like charm, shall we say, to the game. Anyways, guys, did I get this one right? Did I get this one wrong? Let me know down in the comments what you think. Thank you. Have a good day and keep rolling those dice. Bye.